school shooter Ethan Crumbley.
Ethan Crumbley's special Miller hearing concluded today. It needs to be held before he's sentenced for murdering 4 of his classmates.
Ethan Crumbley's voice cracks, tears streaming as he faces life in prison for a deadly school shooting.
I am a really bad person. I have done terrible things that no one should ever do.
What hits a teen when their future's ripped away? This video uncovers their brutal crimes and raw reactions to crushing sentences. From sobs to stone-cold stares, each moment grips you. First, a remorse that stunned the court. Number 8's chilling reaction will leave you speechless. Ethan Crumbley. Ethan Crumbley, just 15, walked into Oxford High School on November 30th, 2021 with a 9mm handgun and opened fire, killing 4 students.
15-year-old Ethan Crumbley kills 4 fellow students and injures 7 other people at Oxford High School in Michigan.
Madison Baldwin, 17, Hannah St. Juliana, 14, Tate Meyer, 16, and Justin Schilling, 17, and wounding 7 others. In court on December 8, 2023, his voice broke as he faced Judge Kwame Rowe. "I'm a really bad person. I've hurt so many," he said, tears falling.
I am a really bad person. I have done terrible things that no one should ever do.
Begging for the victims' families to feel justice. Yet his calm confession clashed with the chilling audio he recorded the night before, saying, "I'm gonna have so much fun." Rowe sentenced him to life without parole, calling it execution and torture. Crumbley's gaze dropped, no reaction as the gavel fell. Next, a duo's twisted crime and one's tearful plea will shock you. Sierra Halseth and Aaron Guerrero. In April 2021, Sierra Halseth, 16, and Aaron Guerrero, 18, stabbed Sierra's father, Daniel Halseth, 45, over 70 times in his Las Vegas garage, then set his body on fire. They fled to Salt Lake City, caught after using his debit card. A chilling video showed them laughing days later, Guerrero joking, "Day 3 after murdering somebody."
Day 3 after murdering somebody.
Wow! Don't put that on camera.
On October 20th, 2022, at the Regional Justice Center, Guerrero apologized, tears falling, seeking forgiveness. Sierra, defiant, blamed others, showing no remorse. Judge Tiara Jones sentenced both to life with parole possible after 22 years. The courtroom tensed as Daniel's sister demanded no parole, calling their act unforgivable. Guerrero's regret clashed with Sierra's coldness, stunning onlookers. Now a teen's screams to a higher power will grip you next. Damon Kemp. On December 7, 2018, Damon Kemp, 19, shot his former roommates Trey Ingraham and Jordan Payton, both 19, in their Daytona Beach apartment at Jade Park Homes. Ingraham took 4 bullets, Payton 6, both found dead by the door as if trying to escape. Kemp, a former Bethune-Cookman student, had been kicked out by Ingram weeks earlier. In court on August 29, 2023, Kemp wheeled in, screamed, "God, God!"
God! God! God!
Victims' families shouted, "Why, Day, Trey fed you." He claimed no prior convictions, begging for leniency, but showed no remorse, denying the act despite confessing to police, "I killed Ace." A .40 caliber Glock, his palm print on its holster, sealed his fate. Judge Leah Case handed down 3 life terms for 2 second-degree murders and armed burglary. Kemp's eyes stayed fixed, unyielding. Next, a teen's icy stare after a brutal crime will chill you. Aiden Fucci. On May 9, 2021, Aiden Fucci, 14, lured classmate Tristan Bailey, 13, into the woods near their St. Johns County, Florida homes. He stabbed her 114 times, 49 wounds defensive, leaving her body by a retention pond. Security footage caught them walking together at 1:45 a.m., Fucci later running alone. A knife tip in Bailey's scalp matched one found nearby. On March 24, 2023, Fucci, now 16, faced Judge R. Lee Smith. He stood stone-faced, head slightly bowed, as Smith sentenced him to life for first-degree murder, eligible for review after 25 years. Bailey's sister dropped 114 stones into a jar,
114.
each for a stab wound, shaking the courtroom. "No motive, just a desire to kill," Smith said. A teen's crocodile tears are up next, and they fooled the judge. Megan Joyce Imiart. On October 1, 2021, Megan Joyce Imirowitz, 18, threw lye powder and water on her sleeping father, Conrad Imirowitz, 64, in their Groveland Township, Michigan home. Furious he was too drunk to drive her to a hair appointment, she left him with burns covering his body. Found hours later by a friend, Conrad died March 6, 2022, after 5 months of agony. At sentencing on July 25, 2023, Megan sobbed, quoting Proverbs 12:13, denying she meant to kill her hero. Judge Victoria Valentine gave her 1 year in jail, with 506 days credited, freeing her that day. Prosecutors, stunned, had pushed for 7 years. Megan walked out saying, "I got a miracle. A teen's collapse in court will shake you." Tony Farmer. Tony Farmer, an 18-year-old basketball star from Garfield Heights, Ohio, stood 6'7", ranked among the top 100 high school players in 2012. On April 23, 2012, he attacked his ex-girlfriend Andrea Lane in her Bedford Heights apartment lobby, slapping and dragging her by the hair, caught on surveillance video. He sent threatening texts afterward, adding intimidation to his charges. In court on August 21, 2012, Farmer apologized, saying, "I'm not a bad kid," begging for probation to save his college dreams. Judge Pamela Barker sentenced him to 3 years for kidnapping, assault, and robbery. Farmer collapsed, his body crumpling into a deputy's arms, as Lane and his mother sobbed in the gallery. Barker noted the video showed him kicking Lane's head, rejecting leniency. He could seek release after 180 days. A teen's bloody breakdown in court will stun you next. Jeremy Goodale. On November 2, 2021, Jeremy Goodale, 16, and Willard Miller ambushed their Spanish teacher, Nohema Graber, 66, in Chautauqua Park, Fairfield, Iowa. Angry over a bad grade, Miller planned the attack and Goodale joined, beating Graber to death with a baseball bat. They hid her body under a tarp and wheelbarrow. Snapchat messages, including Goodale's post, "Time to hide a body," led police to them. At his sentencing on November 15, 2023, in Jefferson County, Goodale's nose bled mid-apology, pausing the hearing.
I want to say I'm grateful for this chance to speak my piece. I offer my sincerest apologies to the Graber family.
"I'm sorry, I didn't stop this," he sobbed to Graber's family, who offered forgiveness despite their pain. Judge Sean Showers gave him life with parole possible after 25 years, noting his remorse but calling the crime beyond the pale. 10 victim impact statements, including from Graber's son Christian, shook the room. A teen's smug grin in court will jolt you next. Donta Wright. On October 4, 2016, Donta Wright, 17, and 2 friends tried to rob Jordan Klee, 18, at Pine Lake Village Apartments in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Wright shot Klee in the back of the head, killing him during a botched theft of drugs and clothes. At his sentencing on July 24, 2017, Wright grinned and chuckled as Klee's mother Karen wept, reading her statement through a cousin. "I'll be home soon," he taunted, shaking his head. Judge David Swartz, furious, nearly rejected the plea deal but sentenced Wright to 23 to 50 years for second-degree murder and armed robbery after Klee's family urged closure. Wright's mother claimed his smiles hid mental health struggles. A teen's heavy confession will weigh on you next. Derek Rosa. On October 12, 2023, Derek Rosa, 13, stabbed his mother, Irina Garcia, 39, 46 times in their Hialeah, Florida apartment at Amelia Oaks while she slept beside his newborn sister. Body cam footage shows Rosa in pajamas, calmly telling police, "There's a knife in my room," after calling 911 at 11:30 p.m. to confess. A baby monitor captured him looming over Garcia's bed. He sent a bloody selfie to a friend asking, "Was that bad?" In court on December 5, 2023, Rosa, now 14, buried his head in his hands as his confession played, showing rare distress. Charged as an adult with first-degree murder, he faces life at Metro West Detention Center. Judge Richard Hirsch set a trial for June 2025. A teen's depraved act against an elderly victim will horrify you next. Gavin Ramsey. On April 6, 2018, Gavin Ramsey, 17, sneaked into his neighbor Margaret Douglas's home in Wadsworth, Ohio. The 98-year-old was asleep on her couch when he strangled her, then abused her body for hours, recording it on his phone. Police found her stuffed in a closet 3 days later, after her nephew reported her missing. Ramsey's journal detailed murder fantasies, and a glove with his DNA sealed his guilt. At his sentencing on January 3, 2019, in Medina County, he read a shaky apology saying, "I'd take it back if I could." Judge Joyce Kimbler gave him life without parole, calling it depraved. 2 teens' courtroom antics will shock you next. If you're hooked by these teens' raw reactions so far, hit the like button and drop a comment with your thoughts. Don't miss the rest of this gripping countdown. Each story gets more shocking, and the final moments are out of this world. Jesus Ayala and Jzamir Keys. On August 14, 2023, Jesus Ayala, 17, and Jzamir Keys, 16, stole a Hyundai and tore through Las Vegas, targeting cyclists. They rammed retired police chief Andreas Probst, 64, off his bike near Tenaya Way, killing him, while Keys filmed, laughing, "Ready for it?" An hour earlier, they hit a 72-year-old cyclist who survived. At a hearing on October 24, 2023, in Clark County, they smirked and flipped off Probst's family, enraging his daughter Taylor, who called them entitled. Judge Jacqueline Bluth set their trial for November 3, 2025, facing murder and 13 other charges. Ayala's attorney cited mental health issues, but both pleaded not guilty. A teen's journal of murder will shock you next. Alyssa Bustamante. On October 21, 2009, Alyssa Bustamante, 15, lured her neighbor Elizabeth Olton, 9, into the woods in St. Martin's, Missouri with a promise of a surprise. There, she strangled her, slit her throat, and stabbed her 8 times, burying her in a shallow grave she dug days earlier. A diary entry chillingly read, "I just fucking killed someone. It was amazing," revealing she wanted to feel a kill. At her sentencing on February 8, 2012 in Cole County, Alyssa faced Judge Patricia Joyce. She apologized, voice shaking, "I'd give my life to bring her back," as Olton's mother, Patty Price, glared. Joyce sentenced her to life with parole possible after 28 years, plus 30 years for armed criminal action. Alyssa's eyes stayed down, hiding any reaction. A teen's wide-eyed shock at his fate will grip you next. Cameron Herrin. On May 23, 2018, Cameron Herrin, 18, raced his Ford Mustang down Bayshore Boulevard in Tampa, Florida, hitting Jessica Reisinger-Raubenolt, 24, and her 21-month-old daughter Lilia in a stroller. Traveling at 102 miles per hour, Herrin killed both instantly in front of Jessica's husband, David. A friend in a Nissan Altima egged him on, witnesses said. At his sentencing on April 8, 2021, in Hillsborough County, Herrin, now 21, stared wide-eyed as Judge Christopher Nash read out 24 years in prison, 9 for Jessica's vehicular homicide, 15 for Lilia's, to run consecutively. "Nothing can fix this," Nash said, noting 11 prior speeding tickets. Herrin's mother Cheryl wept as he mouthed, "I'm sorry," to the Raubenolt's family, who sat stone-faced. Supporters later flooded social media, arguing the sentence was too harsh for a teen mistake. A teen's chilling family betrayal will stun you next. Roksana Sikorski. On October 17, 2014, Roksana Sikorski, 15, crept into her 12-year-old brother's room in their Plymouth Township, Michigan, home on Glenmore Court. Guided by texts from her 23-year-old boyfriend, Michael Rivera, she sliced Lucas's throat with a fish fillet knife, aiming to kill her adoptive family to stop a rape case against Rivera. Her sister's screams halted the attack, and Roksana fled. Rivera outside sent messages like, "Cut the throat quickly." Both were arrested hours later. At her sentencing on March 28, 2016 in Wayne County, Roksana, now 17, cried, apologizing, "I'm not the daughter you wished for." Her mother, Laureen, begged for leniency, citing manipulation. Judge James Callahan gave her 10 to 20 years for assault with intent to murder, noting Rivera's influence. Lucas recovered. A teen's tears for a child's death will hit you next. John Freeman. On August 27, 2008, John Freeman, 16, lured 5-year-old Isabella Tennant into his grandparents' garage in Niagara Falls, New York. There, he strangled her with his hands, leaving her body hidden under a tarp. Police found her after Freeman's cousin reported suspicious behavior. Freeman confessed, saying he snapped but didn't know why. At his sentencing on June 25, 2010 in Niagara County, he wept, mumbling, "I'm sorry," as Isabella's father, Tim, raged through his brother, "Hope you rot." Judge Richard Clock sentenced Freeman to 22 years to life for second-degree murder, noting the crime's brutality despite his age. Isabella's mother, Jennifer, clutched a photo of her daughter sobbing. Freeman's head hung low, tears falling as deputies led him away. A teen's emotionless stare after a gruesome killing will chill you next. Matthew Borges. On November 18, 2016, Matthew Borges, 15, lured his Lawrence High School classmate Lee Manuel Viloria Paulino, 16, to the Merrimack River in Lawrence, Massachusetts, to smoke marijuana. Instead, Borges stabbed him 76 times, beheaded him, and cut off his hands, leaving the body by the riverbank. A dog walker found it on December 1, 2016. Borges's journal detailed the plan. Bring duffel bag, wear bags on shoes. He told friends he killed Lee out of jealousy over a girl. At his sentencing on July 9, 2019, in Salem Superior Court, Borges stood emotionless as Judge Helene Kazanjian gave him 2 concurrent life sentences with parole possible after 30 years. Lee's mother, Katiuska, begged he should never kill again. Borges didn't flinch. A teen's double life sentence for a deadly spree will shock you next. Conrad Schaefer. On June 26, 2013, Conrad Schaefer, 15, launched a 2-week shooting spree in Osceola County, Florida, firing a .45 caliber high-point carbine his father bought him. He killed David Guerrero, 17, walking to a bus stop in Kissimmee, and Eric Roupnerine, 22, during a home invasion in Poinciana on July 3rd with 3 accomplices. Shell casings from 22 shootings matched his gun. At his sentencing on April 15, 2016, in Osceola County, Schaefer, now 18, apologized softly, saying, "I know you'll never forgive me," head bowed as Guerrero's aunt called him cold-blooded. Judge John Morgan gave him 2 consecutive life sentences for first-degree murder, with a review possible in 2041. "You showed total disregard for life," Morgan said. "A teen's deadly neglect of a toddler will break you next." Dylan Schumaker. On March 19, 2013, Dylan Schumaker, 16, was babysitting his girlfriend Ashley Smith's 23-month-old son, Austin Smith, in their Springville, New York, home on Cochran Avenue. Frustrated by Austin's crying, Schumaker slapped him, slammed his head on the floor, and punched him through a pillow 3 times, causing brain bleeding. Austin died hours later from blunt force trauma. At his sentencing on January 10, 2014, in Erie County, Schumaker sobbed, telling Ashley, "I never meant to hurt Austin." But Judge M. William Bowler read his jail call. "I'm a blonde 16-year-old, I'll just cry." Bowler gave him 25 years to life for second-degree murder, later reduced to 18 years in 2016. Austin's grandfather, Michael, said the family was destroyed. A teen's cold denial of a brutal murder will shock you next. Martice Fuller. On May 9, 2019, Martice Fuller, 15, slipped into his ex-girlfriend Kaylee Juga's Kenosha, Wisconsin home through an open garage. He shot the 15-year-old 5 times in her bedroom, killing her, and wounded her mother, Stephanie, who begged, "You don't have to do this." Fuller fled to Racine, but his cousin led police to the gun in a sewer. At his sentencing on May 21, 2021, in Kenosha County, Fuller, now 17, denied the crime, saying, "I'm innocent," despite Stephanie's testimony identifying him. Judge Mary Wagner called him a dangerous, damaged human, giving him life without parole for first-degree intentional homicide, plus 15 years for attempted homicide. Fuller cried only after the verdict, head on the table. "Kaylee was my cheerleader," Stephanie sobbed. A teen's calculated ditch murder will stun you next. Robert Martinez. On February 10, 2015, Robert Martinez, 18, lured Steven Cerna, 19, to a motel in San Antonio, Texas, promising drugs or money. Instead, he drove Cerna to a west side drainage ditch called Hell's Gate on Shadwell Drive and shot him multiple times, leaving his body in the ditch. Cerna, who had mental health issues, was found February 20, 2015. Martinez's uncle, Larry Isaac, testified. Martinez confessed, though Isaac's plea deal in a kidnapping case raised doubts. At his sentencing on January 17, 2018, in the 290th State District Court, Martinez, now 21, stood silent, showing no reaction as Judge Melissa Skinner handed down 99 years for murder. Cerna's mother, Patricia, pointed at him, sobbing, "You took my son!" Prosecutors said Martinez bragged about the killing, believing Cerna's family was tied to a friend's death, though no evidence supported this. The jury deliberated 90 minutes. Martinez's attorney, Leland McRae, argued the retaliation claim lacked proof. We've reached the end. If you found this video gripping, like and subscribe for more true crime stories. Comment your thoughts below. Whose reaction shocked you most? See you next time.